3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Right, mate, thanks, Shaun, for being on the podcast. We're going to start every episode like we do. What's your 1% piece of advice that you would give others to just be that little bit better every day?
Yeah, I think over my time, I think I've learnt just not to worry about pleasing everyone all the time. Just stay true to yourself and, everything will work out okay. Just took me a while to work that out, I reckon. So, people will come along for the ride if you be yourself.
Definitely. Thank you very much. And there's a lot there that we can sort of unpack, because I think that's something that everyone sort of struggles with a little bit is, as we grow up, we sort of look to everyone else and we try to please people around us. So it's something that we can, definitely unpack there. But if you think that you'll get something out of this episode, please like, share, and all the rest of those kind of social things. But Tonks, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Who are you? Where you're from? Background? What do you do for work?
Ulverston boy, so born and bred in Ulverston. Got into PE teaching by chance, I suppose. It was a bit of a plan B. Plan A was a little bit different. Just some good friends sort of led me down the teaching path and, fell into it in a way. And now, 24 years later, so I've been teaching for 24 years.
Yeah, sweet. I guess this probably adds on to our ongoing joke that we're not hanging around schools looking for people.
Schools and gyms. Yeah, we don't hang out schools and gyms, but I guess maybe that's where most of our guests have come from so far. And footy clubs. Footy clubs. Anyway, we have to find some basketball players.
Spread that load a bit.
And it'd be easy being a teacher and pleasing everybody too, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's right, mate. Yeah.
Especially kids and parents and department.
Teenagers.
Or teenagers in general.
That's a tough gig sometimes.
We'll dig into that 1%er a little bit more, but where did that come from for you? Like at what point, I guess, in your 24-year tenure as a teacher, did you realise that maybe you can't please everyone?
Yeah, I suppose it's like anything. You do your job and you do it to the best of your ability, and sometimes it's just never good enough. So it's not losing too much sleep over that sort of stuff and the comments, especially nowadays online. There's some pretty nasty stuff that can get said pretty quick smart, but it's all not only professionally, but it's also personally, like with friends, obviously dealing with teenagers, not only in my profession, but also at home. It's about, I suppose, giving that advice around that it's not that great a problem. Like it's not a big deal if, you've done something wrong and people don't like you or, something's happened and just trying to give them the confidence to say that everything's going to be all right. And that's sort of, not only do you give it to your students and your children, it's also yourself, about your own self-worth and self-image and self-confidence and how you tackle that and not letting it, have any weight on your shoulders, I suppose.
How do you, when, let's say you're dealing with, let's say a student, when they're in the thick of things and they're really, really, really stressed out and anxious about whatever the problem might be, how do you talk them out of it? What advice do you give them to really drill down into trying to get them to understand? Because I know, like, when you're struggling with something, it can be very hard to, understand sort of your sense of normal. So how do you explain that to them?
Oh, this is only my view, but I suppose owning it first. I always talk about owning it. You can't sort of pretend that it hasn't happened. So number one, own it, and then what can you do to try and overcome it, and how much, I suppose, does it really matter? Like we all think it matters, like personally, but there might be someone else who doesn't even care about it, or 10 minutes later something else has happened and they've moved on. So that's sort of how I address it with students around, guess what, it's not actually that big a problem if we, pan out. People aren't even talking about it or thinking about it too much.
Yeah, that doing it with the students would be a nightmare, not in a bad way sort of thing, but they make these massive problems amongst social and friendship groups and stuff that would just be blown way out of proportion that you've really got to bring down, and that is a good way to do it.
They haven't got the same frame of reference that we do, given that we've got, 30, 40, however many years of experience of life that we have. They're working on that 10 to 15 16, 17 years of experience and everything's a big deal because they haven't had those really big deals yet.
Yeah, and I didn't listen to Conks when he tried to talk me out of it either. So. But that's at the time, though, you don't. And there is no, it's easy for us to sit here and go, oh, you are being so unreasonable. Yeah. But they're not. And it's the same with the kids at our ages now, like Emmy and Lewis. Sometimes the last few days, some things she's crazy unreasonable. I'm like, you're being ridiculous. But that's all she knows. She just knows that, whatever's happened in the last 10 minutes, that the world's going to end if it doesn't proceed the way she thought it was going to.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there. That's another thing that, I suppose in education, but also in your own life, you won't engage unless you're ready. So, it's like school. If you've got, using school as an example again, but if you're at school and you're not really ready for school to engage in it, you're probably not going to get a lot out of it, but you sort of need to be there and go through the routine. And then when you're ready, you sink your teeth into it, and then your pathway, you might find that one little bit that you really want to pursue, then you go for it. And I think that's what I've experienced, I suppose. I've taught a lot of the kids that are interested in trades, and all they want to do is go on a building site. They just want to get out of school and the confines of school and get onto that building site. And as soon as they do that, they're away. But it's a grind to get from, I suppose, kindergarten to year 10. Some leave at year 10, and then they, find this work site and they're away. But you've got to get them there. So it's about, and I suppose we're the same. Like when we're ready to kick in and engage in something, we'll sink our teeth into it. But if we're not ready, might as well not worry about it.
Yeah. Bit of a side. Have you noticed a change over that 24 years where it used to just I still feel like it was just, there was a paper in front of us and we just did the work that was in front of us. And I probably didn't, but most people did. Well, I got to a point where I would, I didn't know where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do, but I was just happy I was in that grind and I'd just battle it out and it just got done and it was fine. But do you find that we've shifted away a bit from that, just put the piece of paper in front of them, make them learn it, tick the box, and then they go? Are we shifting towards that more sort of coach as a teacher mentality and get them interested in it some other way? Does that make sense what I'm trying to ask?
Yeah, it does. And I think that's the $1 million question. How do you engage kids that aren't engaged via the paper, textbook model? And unfortunately, there's a curriculum and you've got to assess kids. So there is an element of you've got to do the reading and writing work. But schools are getting better. We've had programs around that trades pathway and encouraging students to learn differently. And Ulverstone Secondary College has 2 programs that cater. So there's options there, but I think we still haven't nailed it. It's still something that needs to, I suppose, more fleshing out.
To come back to your 1%er and kids, and this is relevant for your own kids and school kids, but do you feel like over your 24 years of being an educator and then having a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, 17?
16.
16-year-old. Do you find that in that time things have become harder for young people to be able to just step away from those shitty situations that they might be stuck in, or those circumstances where they're sort of, to your 1%er, the all-encompassing, the problems that they've got seem to follow them more now than perhaps what they did 20 years ago?
Yeah, most definitely. With phones and social media, it's 24/7. So, and it is an issue. And it takes some managing as a parent and as an individual. It's about being true to yourself and calling it out. So we see that obviously at school, but also at home around that need to be on social media. FOMO, sort of fear of missing out of what's going on socially, or what are they saying about me. So. Yeah, young people have it a lot harder, I reckon, nowadays in managing that. And if you get caught up in it, it can be very, very tough. So I suppose it's education around not being caught up in it. And then, it's not only you doing it face-to-face, but it's also that online environment where what you're saying is it's not going to matter what people are saying about you. But we all have that little bit, where we want to know. Not that it's healthy, but... Yeah, it's a huge issue at the moment, huge.
What advice would you have for parents with sort of those early teens kids that are probably the most susceptible to social media sort of stuff and that the lingering problem of, being able to follow them home. Like, what would you say to, let's say, parents, like to help them navigate that with their young people?
Yeah, I don't have the answer. I suppose I don't have if you want to, I'm not going to say I have any answers.
Yeah.
I'm in the struggles of that myself. So it's about, you can't bury your head in the sand. And obviously, as an educator, we've had that philosophy of appropriate usage. So I'm a big one for, they need it. Like, our lives are now all online on our phones. Like, so you can't, I don't believe anyway, you can't just take it away from them. It's about how do you educate and manage, because, that's the biggest thing. How do you teach them to use them appropriately and then not getting caught up in the negative side of things? Because it can be really positive. It's a great way to connect and, meet with people and organise things and all those sorts of things. So it's just when it goes bad, what what strategies you're putting in place around, it could be school, parent, child, or, whatever that is. Limiting usage, has a certain part to play, but it's not the be all and end all. Kids will get on there and do what they need to do anyway. They come up, as you guys probably know, they come up with different little tricks, and we can't keep up with what they're doing anyway. Once we find out, they'll find something else. So it's just education really, and judging. I know with some kids you can tell it in their demeanour, their personality, how they rock up, that something's wrong. And then it's about encouraging them to, I suppose, talk about what they can do to solve the issue that they're in. But because it's all different.
And I think we're just getting to the age now where, like, I suppose probably not the age of the people that were first introduced to the social media are now getting to the point where they're having kids at that teenage years. So they're now having their kid, like before when social media started for me, like Mum wouldn't know what it was. So she was just like, no fucking worry about it. Like, leave it alone. Like,
it's wild
whereas
west.
now there's a bit more knowledge around our parents being able to teach, us as parents being able to teach our kids
We've seen
the ins
some
and outs
shit.
of it. We've seen it. Yeah.
We've seen some
we know
shit.
it's going. But so hopefully that will then improve it, given that it's just been a bit of a free-for-all for the last 10 or 12 years, I suppose.
That's a fair call.
Segueing back to your 1%er conks, and specifically to you, what are some of the strategies that you put in place for when something is inevitably going shitty for you? What are some of the things that you do for yourself to help remind yourself that, it's not the be all and end all, basically?
Yeah, I suppose I'm a bit of a sporty person, so that's always been my answer. Like, try and find, that sport that, to release. So obviously, there's a heap of things that I used to do. So not so much more. I'm involved with coaching more so now, but back in the day it would have been, your soccer and footy and basketball, and now I've found golf like some other gentlemen. Yeah, our body's getting a bit sore. So golf's really good because it, I suppose you never lose as a sports person, you never lose that competitive streak, and it gives you that something to sink your teeth into about, I want to get a better score or hit a better shot and I think I've found that for me personally as a way to combat that competitive streak that you miss as not that I was very good, but, a local sports person, you've got that, bit of adrenaline rush when you go out and have a crack. And so finding that, I think, and obviously, your adventure recreation sports like mountain biking and that's a big release, just to, so I've always sort of been sports minded in terms of strategies. I'm probably one that hasn't really had, good strategies. Like I'm probably, that's something that I need to continue to work on myself really, but I'd say anything outdoorsy and sports always been my go-to.
I think most of those activities too require your focus as well. So you haven't got that time or that spare mental capacity to go, oh, what did such and such say about me yesterday? You're actually there thinking, all right, I need to shoot this club on this angle. And
you've
nailed
it, because that's why I sort of liked mountain biking. I laugh because I don't think about when I play gonks. I'm like, I don't think about when I play golf, like, what club do I need to use or angle or anything like that. It's just, this one get yeah, exactly.
Just did it.
So
don't miss it. Yeah.
I'm surprised you chose golf to connect on. I thought you'd choose mountain biking.
I got that too.
well,
But it's true. It's so true because, you just focus on that and leave everything away. And being out in the outdoors is, so good. So, yeah, definitely.
If you don't focus your mountain bike, you wrap yourself around a tree.
Yeah. Exactly.
Unless you're like me and you're focusing on your mountain bike while it's just in the shed for the past 12 months. But
Guilty.
yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't had it out for quite some time. Probably about due.
Conks, how do you go being teacher to being dad? I like this question. You'd find that you'd like too teachery at home.
I always get from the kids that I'm using my teacher voice. So not too bad. Like I suppose now, as a teenager, that relationship does change a little bit. You sort of go from, I suppose, dad to you sort of still got dad, but there's a little bit of a mateship type friend connection grows a little bit more, but obviously balancing that. And then dealing with teenage years, sometimes it can be tricky. But I haven't found that too bad. I think on the whole, I suppose you do the work early. Try and put those, discipline measures in place early, and then you almost reap the rewards later, I suppose. So they're not, pretty lucky. They're pretty good kids. So really and truly, we don't have too many troubles.
I was actually going to talk about the discipline, like and kids. I've actually found like Rose and I found it really hard with our two. Like they're only 5 and 8, but we had a hell of a battle early on to sort of make sure we were like, are we doing the right thing? Are we making sure they're not going, we don't want feral kids and such and such. And now both of them are actually pretty good kids, I think. Yeah. Touch wood. It's definitely early work, reap rewards later.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think it's like teaching, and it's probably a bit cliche, but just that role modelling. So I value that really highly. Like as a teacher, it's definitely something that it's just your actions. You don't even have to say anything, that role modelling behaviours and way you deal with stress and problems rubs off. So it is valuable. So, and as a parent, it's no different, what do you do when you're under the pump? And we are, busy and under the pump, and, things happen and kids get on our nerves. And so I think not only it's what you put in place, it's also how you handle situations is key. And they'll learn and watch and role play and they pick up on how we handle stressful situations for sure.
My kids are going to be wicked at going, get in the bloody car, we're late again.
Well, what was that about? Some fucking wallet?
Oh, yeah, that happened a time or two. Pass it on to the next one.
It's hard. It's a tough gig. Parenting's hard. So, and there's no one way to do it, is there?
And you realise how much they learn so quickly. Yeah. So Elliot's just over 1. And seeing how much he changes and has grown and runs and just copies what you do is unreal. To the point now where he gets angry if we don't let him take his nappy to the bin. Yep. He yells at you. Yeah. He's very funny. So we sort of touched briefly on golf and sport and that sort of being outdoors. Was there anything else that you sort of have done in the past or are doing currently to look after your own health and mental well-being, aside from, just sort of like letting it go and that kind of thing?
I think, mid-40s now, so the old metabolism slowed down. So I think, I'm a bit lucky in my job, so PE teaching, can be a little bit active. So just trying to keep the steps up and watching what I eat, because the body's packed it in, so I can't train like I used to. And I think what I try and do is just watch what I eat and drink, and just try and keep as active as possible, as much as you can when you're busy and dealing with work and kids. Yeah.
Do you find it hard carving out that time to keep active?
Yep. Yeah, that's especially, Tassie winter, you get home, and I think all jobs are different, but I think in our role, just that mental fatigue, and you can't even sort of be bothered making any more decisions. You're just done for the day. What do you do in that situation? How do you get yourself up to either be, physically active or even just chores around home sometimes is a grind. So, it's just that mental fatigue when you get home from work and you're absolutely stuffed and it's dark and cold outside. That's a real struggle. I haven't got the solution to that problem yet.
I was going to ask, like, how, and it's sort of relevant to weather, but then also you said how your body's knackered, like thinking, like it was my birthday yesterday, and I was thinking, shit, I'm getting old. Am I going to be able to do this indefinitely? And it's just like the answer is no. But when you do lose that ability to, do all the things that you love and really go as hard and be as competitive as you are, like, how do you manage that mentally? Like,
Yeah, I think, well, that's where coaching's good. So, so my son plays in the under-14 Ulverston team, and just being a part of the team, so you feel like you're part of the team, and that you get that bit of adrenaline from good performances and coping with bad performances and improving people and imparting a bit of knowledge that you might have onto the young ones. So that's been really surprising to me around how much I've enjoyed that. Like, I can't do it anymore, but I'm still a part of the team. And watching young kids I've coached Toby's footy team since prep. He's now grade 7, so a part of a footy team, through Auskick into the Ulverston team. I've actually really enjoyed that part of it. Yeah,
it's really funny because Dipper said the same. Like, Dipper went down that same path with when he had his injury to his leg and then went into that coaching role, and he said that it felt similar, I guess.
Yeah, Stewie was the same as well.
Yeah, yep.
I've got another one to go back to. With your 1%er, the social aspect, and as you progress through years and your friendship groups and stuff change, how do you find that sort of, I suppose, being true to yourself and just things don't matter so much? Like, if you want to do your thing, you're just happy to leave relationships be as to where they were and pick them up as they go? And do you find that sort of had an impact, your sort of opinion of it, of just letting things go and being easier?
Yeah, that's probably been really hard. Like, I've probably struggled with that a lot. And it's just, as you say, you just got to be true to your values, and people will come along with you. And I just talk about, you've got really good friends, and you just got acquaintances, like people that, they're people but they're probably not going to be in your corner when the chips are down, and that's okay. It actually doesn't matter. But it's no point trying to spend too much energy getting those people on board, because it's you just won't cope. Like, you'll go under. So I'm not going to say it's easy, because I think that's still hard. Like, even as a mid-40s bloke, you still want people. It's just that little bit, a bit like social media. You want everyone to like you, but you can't. And I think it's just hanging your hat on being true to who you are. Making sure that people around you are the ones that need to be around you, and the ones that are, they'll stay. And I've got some friends who I've been friends with from school, and we're still, there's a tight group there as well, and it wouldn't matter what you do or, how long you see them, they're still always going to be there. And I think, just not letting that worry you. You can't have everyone on board. And I'm not going to say that you don't worry, because you're still, even now, you still worry, but it's about, being true to yourself and, trying to have that core group around you, family and friends, that that you can really rely on.
And I think it's also important to acknowledge that it's okay for friendships to come and go as well. Like, it's great that you've got a friendship group that is sort of can form different friendship groups, and you don't need to stay with the same people forever.
100%. Because I think the biggest change for me was when I had kids. So
I was just about to say, we're at the stage now of seeing like other people go to do, like, still in front of us, and we've still got our core friendship group and, wider circle, and then the wider circle again, sort of thing. But seeing that, knowing that it's coming, and you especially seeing all the people come in and, we're going to this kid's sport, and, we're going to that kid's sport. And I'm like, I'm not looking forward to this.
And I think it's like, I suppose as a dad, I always sort of like, you've got to 100%, you've got to be in. Yeah. And that means sacrifices. And unfortunately, that's, if you prioritise your family, there are going to be sacrifices. And I think that's where I found, especially when people have children at different times, which is just life, that's what I found where your true friends were. Like, it was really interesting because, you're prioritising that. So something's got to give. And, yeah, that's sort of a big step for me, I think, that I found in my journey.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably a good spot to sort of wrap up. And unless there's anything else that you think that you would like to add, there's definitely a lot that people can take away from this one. And I think it is a really easy 1%er to take on board, but at the same time, it can have a lot of complexities to it. So I think there is definitely some value in people thinking about it and reflecting on what that actually looks like for them. But thank you very much. Unless you gents have anything else, no. So thanks, Cogs, for being on. Look, I doubt there's been anything triggering in this episode, but if there has, please feel free. Reach out to a mate. We always encourage you to talk to your friends, family, friends. Reach out to a GP, or not last resort, but a good resort is Lifeline on 13 11 14. Otherwise, please like and subscribe to all of our socials. We want to be able to keep these things going, and the bigger we grow, the bigger the guests, I guess, can get. But we are heading towards the end of season 3 now. So thank you all for listening. Cheers.
Cheers, Tonks.
Thanks, all.
Thanks, guys.